Market Milkshake, the shake that moves.
Join So Sick and Kazi on
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action! Action!
Welcome to the Son of Breakfast Show. We have no competitor. We have no competitor who can come and compete with us.
Danger! Danger!
Ni mfuako tunyerere ture mfuiko tunyerere. Let them move. Team up.
Milking it with Milk It Milkshake.
Kazi ndafua for nini sala?
Naomba.
Name one person that you know who have for nsala.
Yeah, wengi abafuilenga.
Wesa aisho wafuile nsala. Mu Zambia. Hurry up. Tell me one.
Situation. Na mfuile fyatu wa kwa Mackenzie.
Alifanya nsala. But temu nove, temu to waisho.
No.
Afuile nsala because of what?
Takwete fyakulia. Ufanya nsala for because of what?
No, I've never met someone that afuile nsala.
Ari ufanya nsala resanganya na lutuku.
Oh.
Are inwina munsala.
Oh.
Tafuile
nsala. No. Lack of food. And a lot of intoxicating substances.
Lack of food nishi.
Fia mwipe walo.
Lack of food nishi. Tensala?
Sometimes. You want to put afwane nsala.
Insala ile paya.
Insala ile paya. That's true. But tafuile nsala. Fia mwipe walo.
But Adi kumunsala.
Adi nensala. But insala te ya mwipe. Yalishako contribute. But te ya mwipe.
So
umuntu ngafwane nsala like is starvation nishi. The body is because with the body when it's about to when there's no food, it will start getting parts of your bodies like what sasa nita kwa ilikuru dalta mpukuri itakuri pakadia hapo dio ngadia hapo edio start looking for other places that have fat that it can eat so that it can nourish itself. So basically your body starts eating itself. You understand? Nomba now umfafia kasara yake nitawadi 2 days because it takes more than 2 days to die from hunger, right? You're gone, children.
Of course you are.
You are out of there.
Yeah, definitely gone.
So I'll ask you again, why shopo muntu wa fane nsara? Wisa.
I'm refugees.
Tawabe shiba.
Aba kuna nkani.
Kwa kwini.
Kulumbule chao East Africa.
Like, do you remember when you were growing up, everyone was like, you know, Ethiopia was the word that everyone used for hunger, yeah? Like starving children in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Ethiopia. Our parents used to say that all the time. Yeah, it was good. Like,
it was crazy.
I don't even know if that helped people in Ethiopia that we were eating.
And they weren't?
No,
it didn't
that we were not wasting, so we were eating food.
It didn't help them. It helped us to grow with a perspective of appreciating what we had and not being wasteful.
But imagine if you went to Ethiopia and showed them that you had been eating for their sake.
You're not eating for their sake. You're eating for your own sake.
Like,
you're just not being wasteful because of what they're going through.
Like you go to Addis Ababa, then you get off the airport, then you're like, hi guys.
Anyway, that was then. Things have changed.
Look here.
Things have changed now.
I've gained weight because I wasn't wasting food for your sake. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's good that the parents inculcated that in us. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, in my whole lifetime, the people that I've never met anyone who's died of hunger. So if someone dies of hunger, it's either because there's war, or there's just some sort of negligence somewhere else.
Or there's lutuk.
Because if I'm hungry right now, it's I'll find something.
Okay.
There's a guy who sleeps in Broadway there. I think he's he's mentally challenged. I don't know who gives him food. I know, just opposite the
Broadway
cathedral.
Road, opposite the cathedral. Yeah.
There's a guy who sleeps there. Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, it looks like that now. But there's a time I did Yamalova.
Really?
Yeah, there was time he was hungry, and I didn't want to see him. I did Yamaloba because there's like iron. There's also nutrients in Namaloba. We had quite some nutrients.
Let's share food with a snake.
So his body was like, oh, okay, I need some sort of nutrients. So it just drew him to Yamaloba, and he got a nutritious meal. Still.
Oh, no, Steve, no.
The digestive system wasn't enjoying it.
No, it wasn't.
But he got that meal.
Soil is not food for humans. It's food for, I don't know, maybe like a snake or something, anything.
What is that term that Bembas know? Since you know every Bemba proverb. Atin kalamo? Ifyani, something about grass and lions.
Oh, atifintunga fyashupenka la mwina dianechani.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Then we move on. I told you the advantages of being broke. You find out that there's iron in sand, and you start eating it in soil, and you start eating it so that you get your iron content.
No, Steve, no.
Anyway,
no.
All right. So anyway, Zambia has gone to a pretty interesting period. Yeah? I mean, the burial of the president, we've been having a great show because of that. The content has been absolutely fantastic. I'd like to a big round of applause to the government of the day and the Lungu family for keeping us thoroughly educated and entertained on this show. So we're going to do it again because it's if you make a hit, you might as well keep the hits going. Yeah.
Why can't this be a one-hit wonder?
No, this could be a one-hit wonder, but at least while it's on top of the charts,
yeah,
let's milk it. Let's put it in jingles. Let's play it everywhere.
Okay.
So the Attorney General obviously after has stopped the funeral, has suspended the funeral, not stopped the funeral.
The burial.
Yeah, the burial of the president. The funeral went on yesterday at the Requiem, whatever it is.
That was a service, yes.
Yeah, there was a service yesterday.
Mass.
So, I mean, a lot of people are wondering, like, why is the government involved? And if you watch a lot of South African media outlets, they don't understand because their laws clearly say that Zambia, like the family is number one.
Yes.
The clear says number one. Here we're trying to figure out why is the government involved in all this. So the AG was talking about how the laws they are trying to rely on when it comes to his issues with the burial and why he sued or want to do whatever he wants to do. This is what he had to say.
This is your award-winning hit radio.
Sun FM, the best music. For best in news and advertising.
That's why we went to court. And that's why we have been negotiating. The government has the law. Yes, there is the former President's Benefits Act, which is Chapter 15 of the laws of Zambia, which gives what a former president is entitled to. And in the schedule of that act, funeral expenses are supposed to be funded by the government. That is the law. That's the law we are relying upon.
All right, so they want to pay for the funeral because that's what it says. The law says that we need to pay for a funeral of a former leader.
Does it
You've taken off your glasses, Ndekazi. Yeah?
I've got questions already.
Go ahead, Ndekazi.
He says the law states that the government should take care of the funeral expenses. Does it state whether these are expenses that for a funeral in Zambia or a funeral that the family decides to hold abroad? I mean, stating that the government should take care of funeral expenses does not mean the funeral cannot be held outside the country. It means they take care of the expenses, whether or not it's locally or internationally. That's my understanding of it.
I'm just playing you what he said, Ndekazi.
I'm just asking you a question. Maybe you understand it better than I do.
All right, so we had KK who passed away, right?
Uh-huh.
The family wanted to bury him where they wanted to bury him.
Where he had wished to be buried.
He wanted to be buried next to his beautiful wife, Betty Kaunda, who he had spent decades and decades of life with. And they said, no, we can't do that. So Kaweche Kaunda really sued the government. I said, you know what, guys? We want our father to be buried next to our mother. And this is another sort of the law that could mean that if they granted that,
the precedent?
Yeah, the precedent. That's the word, right? If they granted that, then the law basically, like, have you ever seen, like, most of the time when something has been done and the law said it could be done, then it will be done again because of that. They start referring to other cases.
Yeah, it's
so he referred to the Kaweche Kaunda case, and this is what he had to say about that.
The law in Zambia is that it's either by an act of parliament, a piece of legislation, or by precedent of the court. When a court makes a decision, that becomes a precedent, and we have to follow what the court has guided in that precedent, or what the court has ordered. Now we have a precedent in this country, the Kaweche case, when former President Kaunda died. If Zambians have good memory, those who were paying attention to the burial of President Kaunda, they will remember that there was a case in court by Kaweche Kaunda, the son, that they wanted him to be buried at the house where the mother to Kaweche, or Betty, was buried. The matter went to court, and the High Court there ruled that a former president is not a private arrangement. It's not a private property. It's a national property, and it must be, his burial should be handled by the state. The moment there is a national mourning declared, then the law kicks in. The presidential burial takes place, and the government, the military honors, and all the protocols involved, they kick in. There's a law already. That case it's a law.
Milking it with Milk It Milkshake.
What would you have to say about that, Ndakazi? I mean, it happened. The High Court ruled that, you know what, you are our property, and that way they'll be buried by the state. But this one's different, though. This one, he's not in the country. He is in South Africa, and a resident of South Africa, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And another difference between the precedent that the AG had made reference to is that KK at the time of his death was not an active politician, while Isiel died an active politician.
But still, he was still an active politician who was a president at some time, wasn't it?
Yes, but these are the notable differences that we see in these two deaths. And one died here in Zambia, the other one died abroad, like you said. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I think...
Lacunas.
Yes.
That's the word?
Yes.
Okay, so now, family versus public interest. Like the public, obviously, there are a lot of people on social media saying that they want to see their president, they want to bury their president. A lot of people jumped onto buses and went to South Africa. I wonder how they're keeping up with the expenses with that.
A lot of people also said, yeah.
So in South Africa, like we've been hearing from South African media outlets, family is P1.
Number one, yes.
Yeah. And here we're hearing public interest is P1. So, I mean, we heard it from Kaweche Kaunda. Public interest won over family interest.
Yes.
So, let's find out more about family and public interest.
Okay.
The family, yes, they have an interest. But the law set in that case which I've cited says the family or private interest cannot override public interest. And in that case, the judge emphasized that once a national mourning has been declared, and because of the death of the former president, it's the public interest that takes the position. It's the public interest that overrides the private interest. That's the law. And that's what...
Milking it with Milk It Milkshake.
All right, so that's one part of it. Okay, so that's what his bone of contention is. But you know, can a president ever be a private individual, like a president?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
no.
so should we, because he didn't want the state's help, or the state, he didn't want to be part of it? Can he just be a private individual and say, okay, yeah, I was president, but now I don't want any of this stuff. I'm done with president stuff. I'm out of here. One of the things that I heard in the next thing I'm about to play is the fact that, you know, he has a lot of state secrets, right? He knows a lot of things about Zambia that a lot of people should
That
not.
only him and HH probably are the only people who know.
And generals and whatever, and private things that they shouldn't know. So should he? That's why he's always has people following him, because he is someone who could, for lack of a better term, bring fire to a country with what he knows.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so can a former president, be a private individual? Let's check it out.
But I know for sure that many African heads of state, former presidents, some of them who were even who were refugees somewhere or who had sought asylum, but when they died, their remains were taken to their countries of origin. And even here in town, even if we want to be normal Zambians, there are those who die in town, but we repatriate them to their village. If they are working, the employers will ask where the family wants that person to be buried. Yes, they do that, but not when you become president. Maybe this will help us also. For those politicians who want to be presidents, when you become a president, you stop being a private person. Don't even talk about, I have a right to privacy. You are an asset for the nation. Where you go, the state should know where you are going, because they are protecting. When you have been president, when you have been attorney general, there are things I know which you don't know, Sinyangwe. And those things belong to the state. That information belongs to the state. I cannot be allowed to have a free movement. The state should know where I'm going to protect what I carry. That is the position.
Milking it with Milk It Milkshake.
All right,
So
the Attorney
if
General.
that was the case, why then did they allow him to go to South Africa as a private citizen? Because from the knowledge gathered, he went there as a private citizen. His final trip leaving this country was not as state property. He went as a private citizen.
But you have to understand that Patrick Kangwa also stated in their first press briefing as the duo, like the government and the family,
Yes.
he stated that they actually, the doctor, President Lungu's doctor, sent saying that they are leaving the country for medical reasons. And then they said, oh, great, since you're leaving the country, you have to go with the PS and what. And, the state's supposed to take care of where they're going. And they refused.
So why didn't they invoke the same law they're invoking now when that refusal was given? Why didn't they do that?
I think that's where we start having a problem now.
Exactly.
Because there was like, oh, Nabakana, but again.
Exactly.
Yeah. When they could have said, oh, Nabakana,
but the law states this and that.
So,
yes.
so maybe they knew that they were leaving and then they started following him behind.
No.
I don't know.
If we're going to follow the law must be followed from start to finish. I mean, if they knew it was lawful for him, being state property, to
be followed,
to have been, yes, and to have gone there under state sponsorship, they should have invoked the law while the man was still breathing. Why invoke it in his death?
All right, and now the final one. What happens if government or the AG, the Attorney General, this case gets thrown out? What happens? What are they going to do? What is it going to mean for the government? This is what he had to say. I don't know what's happened with my little thing there.
Oh,
I think
shame.
it's gone, yeah.
I think it's technology.
It's technology, yeah?
Playing a trick on you.
Okay, yeah. If you go further on, I think that's it's near the end somewhere. But anyway, yeah, he said that they will accept it. They will accept it, and they just trying to do. This is the last fight for them. Like if it's happen, if this doesn't work, they're done. The Lungus will have their way, and they'll move on with their lives. That's what he said.
I don't mean to be a pessimist, but I've heard the move on story before, so doesn't hold water for me.
I mean, this is what the AG said. I mean, we have it on record, and that's what we're going to stand with, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so you can give us a call on 0212617140 and 0769122851. Let's see if we can pick this one up. We have the Express Credit Show coming up in a bit. Good morning.
Morning once again. This is Miji. I'm calling from Ndege Township here in Ndola, Steve.
All right, go ahead.
You know, Steve, I'm closely following exactly what is happening from the day when our sixth Republican president passed on. Having said that, Steve, when one assumes the office of the Republic of Zambia, you automatically become a state property. That you cannot remove it. I've heard lawyers trying to justify that there is no law. For sure there is no law, Steve. You know, but truth be told, you on the cards, the day you become Republican president, you should know that that is the day you become state property. No matter what your family will say, at the end of the day, the government will prevail. And let me tell you this, Stephen, the listener. The government is going to win that case in South Africa. I want to keep this in the record. I want you to come and play what I'm saying today. Lungu will be buried here in Zambia.
Thank you very much.
And let me also say this, Steve. Don't cut me. Let me say this, Steve. Let us remove political affiliation and allow Lungu to be buried here in Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Makebi Zulu has become quite the star over this period. I mean, if you read about him, it's just in papers, but now you know how he actually looks like.
Yeah.
A pretty young man, by the way. Yeah. So he said, we have been given a chance to tell the world the truth about what's surrounding the former head of state, what's been surrounding the former head of state. That's what Makebi Zulu had to say. And he stood in front of a lot of journalists. And that's our News Minute.
What is the public sentiment like in Zambia currently? Because this is bizarre. Wouldn't you agree?
It's extremely bizarre, but if you get to know where the parts of the matter, you will understand. There's a public sentiment which is divided. There's a propaganda machinery that has been put in place by the government to paint him black even in his death, to continue persecuting him even in his death. But those who love him would rather he be given a dignified sentence. President Hakainde Hichilema is incapable of giving President Edgar Chagwalungu a dignified sentence. It will be a mockery. It will be a mockery. The insistence of him having to body view, as a matter of fact, interestingly enough, today a strange question came from the judge to say, suppose the president wanted to view the body, would that be acceptable? And obviously the answer is no. Only the family will have access. Between now and the time that the matter is determined, nobody will have access to the body. But in all this is an opportunity for us to unite together. President Edgar Chagwalungu is calling for something. He's calling for national unity, even in his death. He's fighting for national unity, even in his death. And he's fighting that people should not be persecuted for doing what is right. He's fighting that the opposition should come together, even in his death. His death is going to unite all of us as a country to fight oppressive regimes, to fight laws that are not fostering the freedoms of the Zambians. It is an opportunity for us to reflect on what kind of country do we want to build. Out of this, then, in the next 60 days, or indeed from between now and the time the judgment is given, we need to be having these frank conversations. What kind of country do we want to build for ourselves? Do we want a country where a former president will refuse to be buried in his own country? Do we want a country where the president will say that person should not attend my funeral? Certainly not. These are the conversations that we want to be having.
What is it that calls for this insistence of the current president wanting to view the body? What is the matter there? Why is the family not wanting him to do so? Is it because the belief is that HH thinks that Edgar Lungu is still alive? What's the story?
I can't speculate. I can't even think on behalf of President Edgar Chagwalungu, or rather President Hakainde Hichilema. But I can speak for the family, only to the extent that if you never why do you want to send a private jet to pick him up in a dead state when you failed to bring him into the country for treatment? You may wish to know that in 2023, President Edgar Chagwalungu sought to come for his medicals in South Africa. And what happened there? The president refused to grant him access to his medical. He said there are no funds to fund this.
It needs to be milked. It needs to be milked. This is a story we're milking today.
Milk this cow the best way we know how.
I told you it's a hit single.
You know, Makevi Zulu says in 2023, President Lungu had applied to go for medical checkups in South Africa, but the state told him he could not go because they had no money. And this is what Zulu says. In the meantime, the state has refuted those allegations. Who's telling the truth? Is it the former president's lawyer? Is it the state? Which story are we going to buy here?
Do you know what's also flooring me is the fact that what is the big deal about the body viewing?
And that's another point I got from the Makevi Zulu snippet. He was asked that question. In simple terms, tell us why the family does not want the current president to view the body.
Doesn't want anyone to view the body. Not just the current president, anyone apart from the family.
And I think he dodged the question. There was no concrete answer, like no pinpointing, no final nail on the coffin, nothing.
Why didn't they go to the airport? Because there was a road being done. The roads were being done in that area. I mean, there's just a lot of things here that for me are just not sitting right. I mean, there's so much aggression.
And you know, when you don't give people answers, you leave room for a lot of speculation.
Yeah, I mean, like even the fact that, I mean, like when you just think about Edgar Lungu, right? And you ask yourself a question, what was done to him?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The family says that this court session, I'll call it a court session, gives them an opportunity to perhaps tell the story of what really happened. And we look forward to hearing that story.
Has Edgar Lungu ever been to jail in these 4 years?
No. Not that I know.
Has Edgar Lungu, I don't know, what has happened to what happened to Edgar Lungu the past 4 years that we didn't see?
The videos that I've seen, the interviews that ECO had, I think I was sharing something with you a few minutes ago during the course of the show. He said he was under house arrest. One thing that he cited was that he was not allowed to go for medical checkups. And he also said they barred him from going to church. He also said that even just jogging, going for a morning jog, was not allowed. They prevented him from doing all of those things. So he basically says a lot of his freedoms were curtailed by the current regime.
But he still did them, right?
No, he stopped. He had to.
I mean, jogging. They said that no, you can't be jogging because
he stopped.
He stopped. They told him to all these things. But what huge, hurtful, hateful thing was done to him that his family, his spokesperson, everybody are so angry about?
Honestly, I think these are questions that the family, through their lawyers, should be able to answer, and I hope we get answers to those questions.
I think they should just say this. My kids are in court. My wife is in court.
Oh, that. Yeah, maybe that.
And that has hurt my feelings.
Yes, perhaps that.
Nothing has been done to me. I've got my immunity. I'm cool. I'm not I'm being followed around because I'm state asset and I all these things. But I don't like the fact that people are touching my kids.
Yeah. Maybe that's the big issue.
Because I'll tell you the truth. I mean, Edgar Lungu really loved his children.
He did.
And we was going from all the gifts that they said that he gave them. I mean, this is the father who loved his kids with all his heart. Obviously, he would be hurt if they're in court every day. Chiesu or Daddy So or Tassila, his wife, all these people going to court. That would like, you know, that would tick me off as well if I heard my Kanisha, my Ntanda, my Malele and my Sam are going to court for things that I gave them.
Yeah,
I would. And my wife to make it worse. Yeah. So maybe that. But
yeah, perhaps that.
Yeah, let's see if we can get your calls on 0212617140 and your text messages. Maybe we should start with text, right?
No, let's start with
get a call.
calls, yeah.
Let's do that. 02126171. Welcome to the Hit Single Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve and in the car.
Good morning. Thank you. Who's calling?
Charles Mwapeka Samba, calling from Chirirabombwe.
Go ahead, Charles.
I think in Efonama from Zambia, bakabike sefunde ya kutira. Kateka wonse ngafwa na munifoba ngafwa, for president ngafwa. Aba family bakaperefia makati. Wozi kutwala kuntanshi. Chaka baboseka sabana depintu. Bana ngo bakusungire bwino atwa state. Chama bakusunga bwino. no state lele wakasukala ndo wasikange state ya lemutunga note state ya Zambamu ya wapo wa state wakasita mendiyo wakapeya makafe family peke hapa fi for future use because hapo chifu ngata takale kwa mitambe muno takale proud so wakati yebe funderio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
0212-617-140. Text message line is 0769122851. Can we?
Let's get a call.
0212-617-140.
Good morning.
Morning, Stephen in the cousin.
Good morning.
Who are we talking to? Go ahead, Stanley.
In area hiyo kuna changa kwa kivu. Balanda ki bapiteka bakarombo kwerero. Mfayo kwishibo fo barufyanya. Sinji sofine bakatwebe ko na kutike kibeko beta. Era vutu chindi. Azenje no bona changa ko hapa bali kwa tafu bitani kwa watu bamo. Oza mpaka pale fya rubana pona ngufimo na ngufine fya rubana mungu na mungu ashuwa sirubane sindu isedi mchikeve lizovu sindu sipwe mushike mulabeko Steve alikabako.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Stanley. All right, so the body of the president, the former president, could be another few weeks until he gets buried.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be dead for 2 months and we'll still have his body.
And this is the thing. Here in Zambia, it's a very weird thing. You die Monday, you have to be buried Wednesday. You die,
We're not from Ghana.
You die Friday, you have to be buried Monday.
It's 3 days, right?
Yeah. In West Africa, an
be
entire
6
year
months.
can pass. Yeah, and it's just like that.
So West Africans are listening like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
This is
thinking,
okay.
why are we complaining?
There's 4 more months left. Let's get a call. 0212-617-140. A big go. Good morning.
Morning,
Yes, who are we talking to?
You're talking to Ishmael.
Ishmael, how are you doing today?
I wanted just to bring my light on that issue as well.
Go ahead, Ishmael.
The good example I can give is a president in Zambia is more like a Catholic priest.
Mm-hmm.
When a Catholic priest dies, the family doesn't take care of the funeral. The Catholic priest.
Yeah.
It's a priest or the Catholic priest themselves who takes over the priest. So the president in Zambia is more like the president. I've never seen a priest who is buried by their family.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ishmael. That's a good perspective. 0212-617-140. You're not for your families. You're for the church. Yeah. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Good morning. You're live on the Sunday Breakfast Show. 2 thumbs up. Chilu Duncan, go ahead.
Ndipo kwenda pale issue ya former president Balungu. Mande ama distance na fasana ama competition na fasana ma probeza fula. Yapia chitika popie mo some presidents twashika twashika por sana kwa confusion ni. Nomba bina ishi mande chiwa sina chipa sana bantu ama confusion ya fula. Ate kwa koti na mapanga decision. Lindi paka wako sanity. Adawa tapari sanity. Bantu fana ishika concept wa family bakwa tamaka. Na baba family ngatabako itamaka. Bapolitician baingira munangu abantu mbenja mutetips si Londro ke tetende bwino. So ko seba family bakwa tamaka. Na baba family tabako itamaka. Bari bafunganya. Nomba twara mwa bakwa tuvola tinga otherwise confusion no poiri. Tapari sanity yawe. Thank you mombe bwino.
Thank you for giving us a call. 0212-617-140. Let's see if we can get some text messages.
I must state that I'm going to omit certain text messages. They lack truth, and the decision is based on my journalistic ethics.
It's your journalistic ethics.
Yes. This message says, Kazi, imagine you have a daughter as a father, and you're right. E.g., you have a daughter as a father, and you're dodging sponsorship. But when that daughter of yours is about to get married, what the government did was unfair to the former president, Chishimba in Kanini. And good morning, Sun FM. There's a question mark. Why Makevi Zulu is still insisting that body viewing will only be done by family members. When HH says there are some lacunas in our constitution, many Zambians criticize him. Now we have seen for ourselves. And Makevi Zulu and the Lungu family should know that there is Zambia and life after burying Lungu. I'm Siankuni from Livingston. This message says, "Hi, Stephen Kazi. But Steve, you keep asking Oliver questions, but you don't say questions. You say pusha. If you have a funde, kota pela kunot rise, it's easy." Oliver. I'm Doug Tech, top fan of Steve. Thank you and good morning. Messages coming through via WhatsApp on 0769-122-851. This message says, so is it that explanation by the Attorney General? Is that explanation by the Attorney General very difficult for the learned Makevi Zulu to understand? Awe, he's really making the Lungu family, he's really milking the Lungu family. I mean, let former President Lungu's family. Abantu Valasamwa in front of international media. Makevi Zulu sounded like a politician while he was telling those lies. Which lies? When Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, held a presser together with Makevi Zulu, the issue of late President's medical checkup was brought up. The lawyer did not dispute those facts. Ati, the family refused help from the government. Hello, yesterday he bragged to the international media that Badi Mukanya lies, lies, lies. And this message says, let them bury him. Nangu... okay, like I said, again, this message quite disrespectful. We need to have respect for the dead, even when we send text messages.
Even if it's so sick.
Yes. This message says, Mwashuka Shani, beautiful people, this law, is it to force for the sponsorship of the funeral? If the family doesn't want, kubaleka. The family said they want the truth to be revealed, but let that happen after the president is put to rest. All we want is for the late president to rest in peace. Umuchi Nshiwamfwa kushika. This death should even be included in my exams. Write an essay about ECL's death. Be blessed, my beautiful people.
It will be.
Yeah. This message says, good morning, Stephen Kazi, once again. Kunda here. Let President Edgar Lungu died while he was in active politics, but he never stopped being former president. Public interest comes first than family interests. I think members of parliament, political cadres, especially radio callers, should be learning civic education. The family thought they were playing draft. Kanshi varete solo. Not until the Attorney General, Mulilo Kavesha, playing chess arrived in the last minute. So basically, it would have been a funeral for the rich few individuals who can afford to go to South Africa. If we're kwa kuku, kwa Georgie, kwa Sinya, kwa Chipulukusuna Kuchuempala, just watching them on Facebook, it's hard to be poor in this country. Remember, PF used to claim that they're a poor people's party. Do you think Mishek or Douglas Nguni can afford air tickets to South Africa?
Poor Mishek and Douglas. Let's we can get a call. 0212617140. Mishek Landapo. Let's get a call. Good morning.
Morning, Sofik and Kazi.
DM, go ahead.
Good morning.
Sure, thank you. For me, what I can say, guys, is that now that the matter is in court, we just await the judgment.
Yeah.
And my advice to fellow Zambians is that whatever the court ruling will be or whatever the outcome from the court, we should just abide by that and go with it. About we've reached a point of which is irreversible, the point of no return. Since engagement between the two parties failed, the matter now is in court. So if court, we don't have to argue about it. Whether it's in favor of the family, we just go with it. If it's in favor of the government, we go with it. Another, arguments for now are immaterial. Of course, he was a politician, he was an active politics, but still, that doesn't take away the fact that he is a former president of the Republic of Zambia. So, but then at the end of the day, it will be up to the court's interpretation, depending on the submissions that the government will make, and also the submissions that the family will make. Then they will interpret it according to the law. I don't know which law they are going to use, if it's the Zambian law or the South African law, or both laws, I do not know. But like I said, whatever the courts decide, let's follow that. And
thank you.
We bury this chapter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. That is the story that we're milking today. Let's see if we can get final text messages, maybe.
Okay, good morning, guys. If you're following this series of former president's funeral, the problem began when Tasila and her husband went online to announce the death of the former president. Just there, that's where all the drama began. It showed that they disrespected the government with that act. Anyway, we'll grab our popcorn and continue watching this series. Netflix, are you taking not? This one says, good morning, guys. Makevi Zulu is a family spokesperson, so let him not start mixing up matters. He should call a spade, because at the end of the day, confusion will continue rising between the family and government because of him. Cholwe Sia Nankala. And this one says, Basan FM, tamakwata namba ya kwata sila, so that you ask her on our behalf why they want a private body viewing. Ndekazi tachikupapu ishefyu. Well, I think they hired a spokesperson for a reason, so you don't quote Asila on her private number, even if you have her number.
Do I have to see this number?
Good morning, Sun FM. Which number can I use to call that site? You can call on 0212-617140.
You should have called on 0212-617140. We're done, but I'll tell you the truth. I really want this whole body viewing part of it to be sorted out. You know, I know there was like on social media, there was like a death certificate being peddled all over social media, but anyway, anyone can make a death certificate. I really want the body view.
For me, the only reason why I would want body viewing to go through is because I feel it's going to give the country closure. You know, we'll know.
That's why I want body view.
Yeah, but I would like to know why the family doesn't want it to happen, so that based on that, we can know what their thoughts are and why they've been acting the way they've been acting.
And like we said yesterday, for me, I mean, if we don't have body viewing, there'll be a lot of talk.
There'll be no closure.
There'll be a lot of things being talked about.
Theory after the other.
Next thing, there'll be a movie about it.
Yeah.
Next thing,
and everybody will be able to end their movie inconclusively, or however they decide to conclude it.
They can end it with Edgar Lungu sitting at a beach somewhere in Hawaii.
Simple as that.
All right, it's 0851 coming up. We have a segment called Who the Hell Cares? But thanks for joining us on the story that we're milking today, courtesy of Milk It Milkshake.
Breakfast on Copperbelt's hottest station, Sun FM.
Start your day right.
That's where we come in. We bring the music, the chat, the coffee.